Nice. Literally 2 hours later. This is ridiculous. This is the stuff that no one shows you on their YouTube, is fighting with the simple stuff that is supposed to go nice and easy, but it never does. What's up everyone? Jesse here with Jesse Does It. Today we got the Mustang. We're gonna work on some front suspension, rear suspension, and hopefully maybe if I get to it, the oil pan and fix that oil leak this weekend. The wife is out of town, so I'm gonna be spending the whole weekend in the garage. No kids, no plans, no nothing other than spending time with this thing right here. So tune in, here we go. All right, so we got the wheels off and I'm gonna start at the top and work my way down. We're gonna take these export braces off because I have a new one piece coming in. Take the shock off and the coil tower off as well, and then go ahead and work our way down. So let's get started on that. All right, got them off. So I had one that kind of wanted to be a butt, and so I just put some pressure up there with the pry bar and it came right off. So now get these off and go from there. All right, so that's off. This is all disconnected up here. And now it's time for this stuff. So first thing under here, I'm gonna undo these bolts and get this shield off. And then also time to get the lower shock bolts off. Then we can compress the spring and pop that out. All right, so the cover is out of the way. Now we're going to turn these little guys right here, pull the shock out, and then work on the coil. Shock's out. Let's pull it up from the top. And let's see how bad it was. Yeah, there's literally no rebound. So glad that was pulled out. So we're gonna stick our spring compressor in here, compress that, and get her out. I've never used this style spring compressor before, and my brain is telling me this ain't right, but this is all I can see right now. So I can't get these inside to grab the coil, so clearly they have to fit up here. And down here I've got them on the coil, and in theory you tighten, it will compress this. However, how do I then get it out? Because it has to come out this way, and if it's attached at the top, that ain't gonna work. I'll be right back. Okay, so after some modification to the tool, basically I cut the arms a little bit in order for it to fit in that hole. I now have it set up properly. So it'll be time to tighten on that top bolt, compress the spring, take it out. So let's do that right now. Nice. So my problem here is the bolt for the spring compressor is too long and is jamming up in here. So it sounds to me like more modifications to the tool is needed. Cut some of this crap off, try all over again. Yay. And round 25. Here we go. Still hitting. This sucks. Of course, I turned the camera off, didn't think nothing was gonna happen, and I just gave it a little pull and she popped right out. Definitely looks sketchy as hell, but you ain't living if you ain't living dangerous, right? So, making progress. Out with the old and in with the new. While we're in here, we might as well give it a little good, you know, touch up. Clean it up some. A little restored. All right, so we're all freshened up. New spring perch is in. It is time to compress the new spring so that we can put it in. So let's get that done. So I'm gonna have to reposition the spring compressor and try again. Close, but not quite there yet. Literally 2 hours later. This is ridiculous. Spring is in. I don't like how it's sitting on here. I don't like much of anything about this, but getting it recompressed to even fit in this space was just absolutely ridiculous. There's got to be a better tool than this, but this is what I saw somebody else recommend, and whoever that person was, I'm not your friend right now. I'm going to try and slowly back this off. Hopefully it falls into the right place, and yeah, we shall see. All right, so we're up against the stop right here. We are seated around the ring up here. New rubber O-ring up there. It's falling into place here. I think I can go ahead and release all this tension and it should be good. All right, the spring is in. I'm not very happy with the bow in the spring. I'm hoping that once I put weight on it, this will settle into the right place. I don't know what else I could do. This is in correctly. There is no right or left. These are both the same. So all I can say is it has to be in right. So let's put the spring in and see what happens. So I was right. When you compress, because I got the jack on there, when I compressed this up, the spring straightened up. So that's good. I'll be honest, filming this and doing this, it sucks. So in case you were wondering, this is a lot of work to film a YouTube and try and work on your car at the same time by yourself without somebody holding the camera and doing it for you, because this is tough, man. Anyways, I hope you're enjoying this, because I'm not. If you are, like, comment, subscribe, all that good, wonderful, awesome stuff. I greatly appreciate it, because I'm over here busting my fingers, banging my head, sweating my balls off, and fighting to do what should be a pretty simple job. But because I'm trying to film and make it cool, make it interesting, all at the same time, it's making it tough on me. I'll be right back. Done. So obviously I have not put the export brace back on. I have a new one right here. I'll put that on after I do the driver's side tomorrow. So until then, be right back. All right, we're back, day 2. So yesterday we changed the coil spring shock on the passenger side. The reason I did the passenger side first is this car had a pretty bad lean. It was about 1.5 inches low on the front passenger side compared to the driver's side. So we changed the springs, changed the shock, put the wheels on, dropped it on the ground, took it around the block, and guess what? It's a little bit taller on the passenger side than the driver's side. So my hopes are that when I change this driver's side that it doesn't change much height-wise, and I'm now going to be currently level instead of having that crazy rake on the passenger side like I did before. So let's get started. Do the driver's side today. Hopefully I learned a little bit and it goes smoother than yesterday. Stay tuned because I'm sure it won't. So keep watching and let's see how this goes. And just like yesterday, I got 2 that came off and 1 that wants to sit there and spin. So we're going to figure out how to get that off. Okay. Nope. Got it. I've gone my whole life without one of these. Man, I love it. Trash. All right, export brace off. Take these top 2 bolts off the shock. And then go down to the bottom. Why would that come right off? No, like really, why would that just come right off? Somebody was smart and instead of just a threaded bolt has a nut on the underside of this where there's no chance in hell you're getting it off. I mean, really, I don't know how they got a nut in there in the first place. Well, that's fun. We're going to skip that for now and move on to some other bolts. So I was able to get a wrench under there. Cool, that worked. And just like before, shocks are blown, no rebound at all. Fun times. Now it's time for my favorite tool, the spring compressor. As you saw yesterday, this thing was a fighter. And definitely made things a lot difficult. So if I ever have to do this job again, I will look for a better spring compressor. This one does the job, but it does not do it pretty. So let's get that in there and get it set up and get this old spring out. This is the stuff that no one shows you on their YouTube, is fighting with the simple stuff that is supposed to go nice and easy, but it never does. I mean, how did I get this in yesterday when today it's out. That was the easy part. Now we get to try and put it back in.
Many hours later.
All right, so we got the suspension done. It's all bolted in. Now I did have to go back with the original export brace because unfortunately while this one is close, it is way off. So at some point, I'm going to assume the Mustang has been in an accident and these two fenders have been smushed together. So instead of fighting with that, I said screw it, we're going to leave that alone. Is what it is. Sucks that I wasted that money, but I can Amazon return it. So I think I'm going to go ahead and start the disc brake conversion on the front. While I've been here, somebody showed up. What are you doing, Joshy?
Just making a puzzle.
Josh is cutting out puzzle pieces because he's going to work on his rust bucket. He's got the interior all ripped out and he's going to start fixing some holes. Don't know if we're gonna get to this one, but we're at least gonna get these covered up and patched. So he's working on that. I'm working on the Mustang. Two awesome rust buckets in the driveway today. So, all right, stay tuned. All right, so suspension's done. We're going to try and do this disc brake conversion. So we're gonna take the drum brakes off. Which are honestly in great shape, but they don't stop as good as disc brakes, so let's get them gone. All right, so I got everything off all the way down to the spindle, so it's time to start installing the new stuff. This kit came with pretty good directions. Looks like I'm going to be installing a bracket with supplied hardware, then putting the rotor on with bearings, finishing the outer bearing, then putting the caliper with slide pins, finishing the caliper, and bleeding. So not that hard. Who needs those? Let's get going. We're gonna put some thread locker on these. I don't want these backing out at all. Alright, brackets on. The kit came with all new bearings and everything, so that's kind of cool. It says inner on this one. Fits in there. I had a feeling that was going to happen. That's a little toit. The only reason I'm thinking to reuse these bearings is because I know they're brand new. All you online are probably saying, don't do it, don't do it. But if it fits and causes me a lot less stress, look at that. Why not? I also have heard reviews that the bearings that came with the kit don't fit. Clearly, tolerances on a 60-year-old spindle and new bearings are going to be a little bit different. I'm going to repack these and reuse the old ones just because I can. Get all nice and messy. Okay. So that, we'll use the new seal, tap that on, and we'll be right back. Looking at these old bearings, they are made in USA. Tyson, I don't know, LM1 1994, I don't know. Whoops. Like I said, they're relatively new because they were in good shape. I had no play in them before. I'm just going to reuse them again. Give them a good little pack. Lock washer. Spindle nut. Now there is a torque spec to these. However, you all know me, and I've been doing it this way for years. We're going to spin and tighten. Until it has a good amount of resistance. Go on a little bit tighter. And look at that. I think we're golden. I also heard that these didn't work either, so we may use the old ones on this. Yeah, that fits way better. Okay, that part's done. This bracket goes on the caliper, has a little cutout for this. And then the brakes go in and you slide the slide pins through, which hold it all together. So we're going to do that right now, and then we'll be right back. So this will be tricky and fun. Not much that I can show you, unfortunately, but essentially spacer goes in and then it threads into the bracket. Yep. So I'm fighting this little tiny O-ring right now that just keeps trying to get pushed out, and I want it in there. The top one had no problem, but fighting that O-ring right now. Other than that, basically done. Alright, so caliper is on, rotor is on. It all spins nice and free. All that's left is to put the new brake line. So hopefully that's the right brake line. Hopefully nothing goes wrong, and then I get to do the passenger side all over again. This is so much fun. Not. So, as I thought, run into a snag. As always. It just doesn't ever make sense. This kit, Speedway Motors, is a supposed direct swap for disc brake from drum brakes. And it supplies new lines that go to the hard line. Well, guess what? It doesn't fit. So this is the old line that came off, and this is the new line, and in there you can see that this is way bigger than this one. So the new lines will not thread onto the brake hard lines that we have. So I have to find an adapter to go from the hard line to this line, and don't know what size I need and how to find that. So it's going to be some time before this gets finished, unfortunately. So the car is stuck in the driveway, actually in the garage, on jack stands. I can move forward with the passenger side, get everything all done, but I will not be able to drive it and fully finish it until I get some adapters. So I guess that's my only option at this point. That really sucks. I was really hoping to go for a drive today and test this all out, and yeah, that's not gonna happen. So yay me. Oh, let's see what Josh did. Oh, he's got a seat back in. So I got one panel here, and then show me that panel. So he's fixed a couple holes. Unfortunately, the window regulator is broken, so we weren't able to get that fixed for him. He's got a few more to do, and then we can go ahead and install the carpet and all that good stuff on there. I have the brakes as far as I can go. So both sides, brakes and suspension, are done. I will, however, have to find that adapter plate or adapter nipple, yeah, for the brake line. So I'll order that, and then we'll bleed it and test drive it. Unfortunately, you don't get to see the test drive in this video, but I appreciate you guys watching. As always, I am Jesse with Jesse Does It. Till the next project.